The last chroma stars disappeared on the horizon, and it became pitch dark. The only sounds that could be heard were the calm of the night, the waves of the sea, from time to time the lullaby of the wind, and the clatter of hoofs of two horses on the sandy ground and their snorting. Sasha slowed her mount from gallop to trot, and Cheyenne did the same. They had left their pursuers behind with difficulty. During the escape, the young woman had repeatedly fired a few bullets from her firearm at the enemies, as well as their horses, and at some point it had become quiet. She certainly hadn't hit all the knights, but it had apparently been enough, because the pursuers no longer seemed to be after their targets. Now she used the pistol to light up the Black Knight by shooting magic lightning bolts in all shades of purple in front of the small group every now and then. Cheyenne herself saw enough, but she knew that her companions probably had problems with it. Adukas was happy about the colored magic balls, because he was constantly chasing them. Sasha's pistol is really useful. It looks like a special weapon. Is it an elemental weapon? Since Glacio assumed that my bow had an element, there are probably not only elemental swords, but also other such combat tools. I couldn't explain this glowing lightning pattern on the pistol any other way. It even seems to move like real lightning. So Sasha's element would be lightning. Wow. And these lightning balls. Maybe that's a difference between elemental weapons and normal weapons? That these special combat tools stand out in not only appearance and power, but also in handling? These lightning orbs look like elemental magic. Maybe the special Umbraura orb with the elements set in the weapons can somehow give them a special power or magic of the respective element or something like that. That would also make it easier for me to understand why my bow does not need arrows. This theory must be true, otherwise I can't explain these lightning balls. But that would be awesome. Anyone who doesn't have enough Umbraura in their body and therefore can't use elemental spells on their own would only need to get an elemental weapon, and they could still use it to cast magic. Only of the element assigned to them, but still. Fantastic. I'll ask Sasha about it later. Cheyenne and her friend stopped the horses. They had now arrived at the only tree far and wide near the beach. To the right of them there was only dry, cracked soil for miles, and a little further to the left was the Beach of Light, which ended in the sea after a few meters. This stretched from Saraley to here and seemed to extend even further and become wider. Sasha jumped off her horse and tied its reins to a hanging branch of the old partially withered tree. Then we should probably take a break here or spend the night, I suppose. Glacio, who strangely enough didn't say a single word during the whole escape, also climbed off the other large brown animal and took a few steps towards the beach before he stopped and stared at the sea. What's wrong with him? Cheyenne also dismounted from the horse and tied the reins to another old branch of the tree. Sasha looked at her acquaintance for a moment, but then she paid him no further attention. Cheyenne, can you help me for a moment? We need a few branches from this old tree here so that we can make a fire. In this area it always gets so cold at night, and I don't necessarily want to freeze my butt off. You probably don't either, right? The girl nodded and went to her friend to help her break off the branches. Of course I'll help you. I don't mind the cold that much, but I really don't mind a warm little fire. I think the flames are totally beautiful, how they dance and shine in their beautiful colors. Sasha smiled and shared Cheyenne's opinion. Oh yes, fire not only warms, but it's also really nice to look at. Whenever I'm out alone at night and have to spend the night somewhere, I think about my life a lot. And most of the time it makes me sad. But when I look at the fire for a while, it somehow gives me strength and new hope. So she likes fire as much as I do. Nice. Oh, I was going to ask her about her weapon. Cheyenne pulled with all her strength on an unruly branch, but it finally gave way and threw it on the ground behind her. While she was looking for a branch that was easier to break off, she asked her friend a question. Sasha? Your pistol you have there, is that an elemental weapon? After all, it can create these lightning balls. The young woman threw one broken branch to the other and seemed to be pleased with Cheyenne's attention. Yes, that's right. You pay attention. This is an elemental weapon. It's very practical, don't you think? 3 different projectiles can be fired with it. With a switch I can set which one I want. On the other hand, I can use normal ammunition. The only disadvantage is that I have to buy this all the time, should I happen to have some money with me. Then there's special explosive ammunition that causes an explosion a few seconds after launch, but I don't use that very often because it's outrageously expensive. Last but not least, I can make use of the element of the weapon. As you might guess, I've been given the element of lightning, so I can shoot lightning balls and normal lightning bolts with my pistol. This is absolutely insane, because I don't have enough Umbraura for elemental spells, but I still wanted to be able to use magic all the time, and this weapon makes it possible. I was so lucky that I got it. The Imperator of my clan likes me very much, so he had this elemental pistol made and gave it to me then. He knew that I couldn't afford such an expensive weapon, and when he gave it to me, I really felt honored, because he usually never gives anything to a shadow servant, but somehow he likes me very much. I also think the lightning pattern on it is really pretty. Cheyenne nodded. Are all elemental weapons so beautiful that it's a shame to use them in battle? Probably. She had already broken off some branches and was of the opinion that it was enough for a fire. I think we've collected enough twigs, and I don't know if I should say this now, but I think you have found an admirer in your Imperator. Sasha started laughing and shook her head in amusement. Cheyenne was also amused, and together they carried the collected branches a bit away from the tree. The friends put the branches together in a pile. Sasha pulled out her pistol, held down the trigger with her finger, and let a lightning bolt strike the firewood with a loud bang, whereupon it began to burn. The young woman sat down by the fire and warmed her hands on it. Arukas curled up next to the heat source and closed his eyes. Only Cheyenne was still standing and looking at the sea. Sasha followed her gaze and sighed. This idiot. Don't worry, Cheyenne. He also gets along well on his own. Actually, I don't even understand why he wants to stay with you. He doesn't really have a good reason for this. I would strongly advise you not to give him even a little bit of your trust. You don't know him. I know he helped you and stuff, but be careful with him. A year ago, I would have entrusted him with my life, but today, I can't even turn my back on him with peace of mind. It would really be best if you just ignored him. The girl sighed. Since he had spoken to the knights, he had behaved differently than before. Cheyenne didn't know Glaciu like that. What was it about the knights earlier? And why would Atropax want to kill him? He denied having anything to do with the knights, but now I don't believe him anymore. He just knows too much about them, and now they know him too. But I should ask him myself. Sasha would certainly not give me an answer. After all, she says I should just ignore him. But she is right on one point. Why does he still want to stay with me now? Well, if I hadn't helped him on the horse before, Glaciu wouldn't be here now. But he might as well go now, or tomorrow morning. He suspected that I was the chosen one, and that's probably why he has accompanied me so far, because he wanted to take care of me. So far I still understand it, but now Sasha is with me and can take over. She also takes me to the shadow servants, so he has no reason to be here anymore. In addition, I can take care of myself now a bit. However, if I ask him that, he's guaranteed to not give me an answer, or he will lie to me again as before. Cheyenne was about to go to Glaciu when Sasha told her something important. Hey, there's a small change of plans. I've thought about everything again, and I think I know how we can find out who you really are. The Superator's parents are the 2 elders of the Shadow Servants. As such, they are very wise and enormously religious when it comes to the gods. I'm sure they can somehow find out if you're the chosen one or not. And I think it's most important for you to know that for sure right now. And if you really are the chosen one of darkness, it would be advantageous if you met the Superator. The elders live in northern Halonia, at the foot of the gigantic Mount Nightblade. So that's our next goal if you agree. Cheyenne nodded, because she really wanted to find out who she was as quickly as possible. She hoped that she wasn't the chosen one, but she couldn't prove it. These wise people would finally be able to give her certainty. She didn't want to think about what would happen if she really was one of these two most special people in the world. She wished so much not to have to take on this great responsibility and suppress the possible future, although deep down she knew that she should deal with it. Because the probability of being chosen was very high, everything spoke in favor of it. The girl groped through the fine sand and walked towards Glacio. Sasha had advised her against it, and actually Cheyenne herself wasn't quite sure whether she really should and wanted to talk to him. After all, he made her feel insecure about his behavior, and she wondered if she hadn't been terribly mistaken about him. After all, he had lied the whole time without even batting an eyelid. He had never told the girl his suspicions, and had only told her excuses. Some of them she had even believed him. But Cheyenne would have overlooked that because Sasha had done the same thing after all. But now the knights knew him too, although he had firmly asserted that he had nothing to do with them during the night near the Cliff Mountains. At the time, he even seemed disappointed in Cheyenne for accusing him of such a thing. Was it possible that this was also just a very convincing lie? But then he could act very well. But maybe there was a good reason for all this, and the girl would be wrong. She would only know if she asked him. Glacio sat in the sand. Next to him lay the ice sword. It glowed ice blue and illuminated the night with its glow, within a radius of about 1 meter. Cheyenne suspected that he was using it to be able to see a bit in the dark. Sasha's lightning gun also lights up, and when I remember, Atropak's water sword also had a blue glow around it. Elemental weapons all seem to glow in the color of their element at night. My bow would probably make everything even darker. Fascinating. Cheyenne didn't really know whether to sit down next to the healer or stand. She decided on the latter, and since he had his eyes closed and made no move to talk to her, the girl started talking for a change. "Are you okay? I mean, because of the wound on your face, will it heal completely?" The sea breeze played with Glacio's hair, and the blood-clogged part of it became visible from time to time. Slowly the healer opened his ice-blue eyes and looked straight out to sea. The light blue glow that surrounded him made him seem almost mystical and even more beautiful than during the day. Even though Cheyenne was no longer sure whether she still liked Glacio and should trust him, she couldn't deny that he was the most beautiful person she had ever seen in her life. She really hoped that the cut wouldn't leave a scar on his face, even though she really agreed with Sasha by now, and he actually deserved a rub down. The healer avoided looking at Cheyenne and continued to look at the sea. "Little angel, of course it heals completely. Tomorrow evening you won't see any more of it. I can also heal my own injuries, you know." The girl sighed. "Oh, that's right. I didn't even think about that anymore. And if he says tomorrow evening I won't see anything more of the wound, I assume that he will continue to stay with us." She shook her head and collected herself again, for it cost her some effort to ask Glacio the question that burned in her soul. "Glacio, why did the knights know you? What do you have to do with them? You told me you had nothing to do with them, but now I can't quite believe it. And why does Atropax want to kill you?